Well, good morning. Good morning. This is Charles Coachman and Lana Ferguson, and this is Bay Area Let's Talk the Holy Bible. Bay Area Let's Talk the Holy Bible. It is Tuesday, April 25th, 45 degrees in San Jose, California. Lana, what do you have in Gretna, Nebraska?
We have 41.
41. You're right behind us.
We are.
Right behind us.
I know. And
Awesome.
we're probably behind Texas and everybody else. And I know we'll never beat Florida. So,
Well, come on. There'll be some days. No, there'll never be a day as nice as Florida.
yeah. Yeah, I knew that was coming too.
All right. All right. We've already talked about this, Lana. No birthdays today.
No.
Okay. But we
No.
do have a shared friend.
Yes.
Well, let's see. Did I just erase him?
I hope not.
Oh, all right. There we go. Renee Nuri. This is a girl that I met through real estate, a young lady, I should say. And Renee was the lady that greeted everyone at our front desk. And she took care of a lot of us and helping us to find the things that we needed in the office. And she was just a terrific young lady. Now she's working with another real estate company, but doing very well. At least the last that I heard she was. So Renee, wishing you a very happy birthday. And then Patrick Shearer, this is somebody that we met through the Gittimer program. Patrick helps different businesses and helps businesses link. And I believe he is out of Waukesha, Wisconsin. Is that the way you pronounce that name?
Waukesha?
I think it's Waukesha.
Ask me how to pronounce the name.
Yeah, well, no, I'm going to take that back.
Yeah, go ahead with your Waukesha.
Okay, Patrick, wishing you a very happy birthday. God bless you. If it is your birthday out there, wishing you a very happy birthday. Enjoy your day. Make it your best day ever. God bless you. All right, I'm going to talk about our friends that we're in prayer for. And Lana and I were sorry that we were a little late coming on, but we were talking for a few minutes and got caught up in a little bit of a conversation. And today is the funeral for the grandmother or your daughter-in-law's mother. So praying for the kids and the family throughout this day and for a while as they go through a grieving period. And I think it's good that when we do have a chance to grieve.
Sometimes it's later on after everything is settled.
Yep.
And that's with the little girls what I worry about a little bit.
Yeah.
It's a settling process there.
Yeah. I didn't realize, even though I was 13 years old, and I was starting to tell you this when my grandfather Coachman died, I didn't fully realize that, you know what? He's not coming back to give you advice. He's not going to be a part of your life anymore. And it took me a while to get used to that. I think I missed my grandfather for years and years and years, and I still do. But I miss the guy that he was, always with the hand on my shoulder and telling me this is what you need to do. And let me show you how to do this, Charles.
It's like our granddad Bowie. My cousin Debbie and I, who were like sisters, still are, not as close, but anyhow, I was the drum major for our school band, and she was the majorette, the baton twirler. I could never twirl a baton, but she could. And Granddad was so proud of that. We go and we do our little show for him, prance around the living room. And I mean, he was feeling fine, but he died suddenly. And Grandma said, I think he'd rather have you down there on band day. He'll be watching. And I never thought about that. He'll be watching. So Debbie and I, we get on the bus early. We're down there. We're having fun, marching around, doing our thing. And on the way back, we were sitting in the front seat of that bus, and here came that hearse down the road. It was the day of his funeral.
Mm.
He looked at me, and I looked at her, and it was just like, oh my gosh, we're not going to see him again. And that took me a while.
Yeah.
So
That's
with everyone that, I know we see even people that, are still remembering and still have that touch, that feeling, that sadness. And we need to remember that they're always with us because of our memories of them. And we'll see them again when they're saved. We'll see them again. And it's all right to cry.
oh yeah.
Yeah.
It is all right to cry. Apparently, there's some guys crying for donuts and coffee. So
Always. Always. That is the signal. It's my signal.
it's the bat signal.
Yeah, it's either
Donuts and coffee are on, boys.
yeah, yeah. There's several signals like that to go off. This is the donut signal. Around 11:30, there's the sandwich signal. And it
All
makes
right.
me be a
We love our people in blue.
I would
Get your
just
donuts.
I don't know. Are they
Donuts.
blue or brown? Ours are in brown. They're county people.
Oh, well,
You
we
have
love
blue
our
if they're
people in uniform.
in the cities. I learned that. I've got quite a
God
few
bless those
friends
guys.
that wear brown.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we love them all.
Yes, we
All
do.
right. Let's talk about our friends that we're in prayer for. Curtis Brown, Red Burkheimer, Shelley Elliott, Nancy Kirkbrand, Ashley Van Winkle, Jeff Rainey, Eric Beloved Flournoy and family, Wilder Lee Jacobson, Nathan Liegenfelter, Rob Richardson, Michael Martin, Heidi Balladay.
We have Sue Tavares.
Oh, and I just went to the wrong one.
That's all right. Carol will forgive you. We have Sue Tavares, Jeanette Tibio, Brad Goodwin. Thanking God for you, Brad. Mercedes, Sadie Dawn Wimpin, Brandon Grace, and Elisha Robinson. Lashana Harper, Gina Rosen, Bill, Grandpa Bill, and Lois Dobbs. Roger Bowie and his family, Dexter Thompson, Dee and their family, Terry, Carmen, and now we have Carol Lindell. Ronan Bowie, God bless you, little Ronan. Anna, Debbie Schultz Benendorf, and her daughter, Julie Brennan. Praying that things are going well with you, Julie. Mike Ferguson and family, thanking God for you all. Pamela Bowie, Valerie Bowie. Valerie had where she was visiting her father's grave on Facebook, and makes me think that sometimes those days come and go, and then we'll see something like that. Sarah, Doug Wayne, Darlene Coachman, Andrew Northwall, and Andrew posted, and he's doing well. We had the pre-surgery, we had the after surgery, and then later on throughout the day, and he is doing really good. And he's such a joy. He's I have a lot to be thankful for Andrew Northwall, and I'm praising God for him and for his quick recovery. And for
Amen.
you, Charles, always praying for you.
Amen. Thank you. I got a bit of a word of praise. The pastor that baptized me and the pastor that I turned to and became a close personal friend of his um, retired a few years back. Well, he decided to leave the church and worked as a missionary again and
Oh,
served the churches in a different manner by going through different places and served as a intermediate minister while they were out looking for their full-time pastor. Well, he has been serving at his home church, which was the church that he went to as a young man. And on Sunday, they decided to make him their full-time pastor.
Oh, wow.
And so he is returned home to Laurel, Mississippi, and is the First Baptist Church pastor there. And Laurel, Mississippi, it's a place that I'd only heard about from my pastor. And now there's a show called Hometown, and it's one of the shows where a fellow goes in, and a fellow and his wife and their crews go in and redo homes. And it's a pretty good show, and you can tell it's all down home, and everything is wonderful about it. And so I flipped onto my pastor's Facebook page and took a look at it, and there was this guy from this Hometown show. So they're friends. And
Wow.
I just said, you know, it's a smaller town. It's not a huge town, but our pastor told us so many stories of what it was like to grow up in a town and in their downtown where you just knew everyone. And
everyone knows your story.
Everyone knows your story, and they knew exactly what you did, good or bad.
I know. And they can add to it too.
So Pastor John Helveston, congratulations. God bless you and Lucy. Wishing you two all the best and down in Laurel, as always, and want just give all praise to God for putting you in that position.
Have you ever been to Mississippi, Charles?
Never been to Mississippi.
Well, it's okay.
Yeah, well, they love it.
There's areas, though, just like any state. Although I don't think Nebraska has any of those areas.
Well, I know for this, let's say,
probably California doesn't either.
I don't need the humidity that I know comes along with Mississippi.
They have a river. If you go along that river, the Mississippi River.
They have a river?
They do. Come on, Charles. Don't do that to me. Of course they have a river. The Mississippi River. Did you not
also got a gold.
Mark Twain? I mean, what's wrong with you? No. That's about the only one I could pronounce, though.
You mean Samuel Clement?
Was that? Yeah, that's who that was. Wasn't it? Samuel Clement. I used to, in fact, I think I still do have one of those books that has all of his quotes. He had a lot of good quotes.
He did. I like the one about politicians and babies. You have to change their diapers and
every so often. They have to be changed.
And for the same reason.
Yeah. Well, we've got news now that I'll tell you it's hard. It's very hard to even get on Facebook and find your friends and say hello. And then you got somebody wanting to be your friend. And I don't know, sometimes I just accept things and I shouldn't do that. But I did. And I'm so glad you're my friend. And I'm thinking, I don't know who you are.
Who are you?
Who are you? Yeah.
Leave me alone.
Are you somebody I should have known? Probably not. So I'm going to ditch a lot of that.
I'm ditching them all.
Are you really?
Well, I'm on Facebook so little, so that's the way it's going to be. I have no use for any of it except to keep up with a few things, and that's all I want to do. I don't care to be on here. I don't care to listen to a bunch of stuff, and I sometimes say, "What are you doing this for?" And then I just kind of laugh.
Well, you like your music, though, and I do too. I like to go in and listen to certain songs, and then I'll post certain songs, and you do that too.
Yeah,
I'll go down.
That's really my favorite thing to do, and to catch up with truly
good friends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. let's go on and talk about what we're going to be reading because we're going to get going. Ephesians 6:10 through 20, Exodus 21, 1 through 36. Let's check and see who's here with us this morning.
Friends.
Arnie Carvajal. Good
Hi,
morning, Lana and Charles. Blessings to all from, I'll say it, beautiful Merced.
Merced.
Yeah.
I spelled that wrong. Merced. MERCED. I put it MERCEDE.
Did you put a Z on the end and call it Mercedes?
No.
Okay.
And how far is that from where you're at in San Jose?
Probably about 120 miles. Probably. I'm guessing. A wild guess, but I think that's about right.
Okay, they're still with David in Merced?
No, David is in Martinez. They're home.
Okay,
so,
Martinez.
Arnie, wishing you a wonderful day, both you and Kathy. God bless you. And loving the pictures of the flowers. Loving the pictures
I love
of the
it.
iris.
That one was just gorgeous. That must be a special iris that he showed.
That purple and white one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great.
I called him out and just said that's the College Park Falcon colors.
Oh, that's right.
But
beautiful though.
Arnie went to a different school. He went to a crosstown rival. So
he made his day.
Always have to give him the Falcons signal. And the Falcons are in his life. Now they're in his life every day. Arnie, have an awesome day, brother, both you and Kathy. And keeping it in the family, Bradley Sherritt's good morning, everyone. Blessings 5975. That's a beautiful day, Bradley.
That sounds great.
God bless you, man. Thank you for being here. We're grateful for you. And Doug Wing, good morning, friends. God bless you both. Doug, God bless you, man. Took a look at the man cave, saw a couple, 3 photos of it yesterday, and very nice.
Oh, it is so nice. Matching, benches. You can just sit and look at it.
Very cool.
It is so cool.
Yeah. And he's such a big Chevy man. That's what's really cool. Oh, Ford. I'm sorry. Doug, God bless, man.
I may not know how to pronounce names, but I do know the difference between a Chevy and a Ford.
There's some big differences. Doug, have an awesome day, brother. God bless. All right. Lana J. Fitzgerald, blessings to all from Marco 8369 and Rainy. Choose love today. Jesus does. Charles, Lana, you always have an open invitation to visit Marco.
Love to take that someday.
Isn't that nice?
Yes.
Love that. All right. Lana, you have a beautiful day. Enjoy it. And I had just mentioned about the rainy season. I saw that picture on there, and somebody says the rainy season is about ready to begin. So there you go. Enjoy. God bless, Lana. And 5890.
That's Arizona. That's nice.
That's a little warm. Here it is. It's possibly where Doug's at 7:30. So almost 6.
Arizona.
That's when you get, well, I'm not sure which town, if it's outside of Phoenix or if it's in Tucson or one of the major cities there. But 60 degrees in the morning, you get out and do your stuff right then. You want to go golfing, line up your tee time at.
He's giving you your choices, Doug.
Get out there and get going, because otherwise it's just a little bit too hot to play. So, Doug, enjoy, man. God bless.
God bless.
And then Kathy Schertz Carvajal, it's a beautiful morning. I can hear a tune with that as the first line. It's a beautiful morning.
Mm-hmm.
Go out and make it your best day yet. Yeah. Amen. Yeah. Kathy, you and Arnie have an awesome day. 5180. There you go. That is a beautiful day. And if we could just stay right at 80, the sky would be very happy.
Who's the guy that wants to control the temperature?
Oh, well, I don't care to control the temperature.
Yes, you do. You're always
I
saying, "Well,
just know
this
that I need
day
to get out of it once it gets over a certain temp. But
I'm ready for 80s."
enjoy it. Well, if there's water around there, I'll pop in some
Yeah,
water.
yeah. That's
So,
good too.
what's he doing in the duck pond? It got over 80. Kathy, you and Arnie have an awesome day. God bless you. And whoop. Good morning, everyone. Enjoy your day.
Okay.
Diane Kazaris
Have a
Hayhurst.
great day.
I got busy fingers. They're just fidgeting around. So, Diane, you have an awesome day. God bless you. Thank you for being here. And you and Dave have a wonderful day. God bless. And Doug Wink heading to the Philippines next week.
So glad to hear that. I don't
It's
know how you
100 degrees and 95% humidity there right now. And Doug feels the way I do right there. That emoji says it all.
Oh. Well, Doug, there's
I
something.
love my Chevy C8. There you go.
Well, we love it too. We all love your Chevy C8.
My
Yeah.
Chevy, man. All right, let's
Can I
pop
read
on.
something before we go
Go for it.
over? I got notice today that from my cousin Richard Porter, and it was an announcement that his mother, who would be my mother's cousin, passed away, and she was 93 years old. She was born in Kearney, and she moved to San Francisco at the age of 12. She was married to her husband for 55 years, Ross Porter. And I just want to tell the family out there in California that I'm broken by that, because I really had that on my list, that I would be going out there and be able to hug her one more time.
Mm.
And she had a lot of interests. She's the one that I went and visited with. She kept a diary of where we ate on the wine list where we went and ate. Beautiful woman,
And
and
she
I just
lived in Santa Rosa.
Santa Rosa, yes,
Well,
yeah, Santa Rosa. She was very talented. They traveled a lot. She was a musician. She loved to cook. Everybody in my family loved to cook,
loved to cook.
and they were good. Yeah, yeah.
Well, that's good because most in my family don't.
There'll be a service at the First Presbyterian Church in Vallejo, Vallejo,
Vallejo.
Vallejo on May 6th.
Mm.
So I guess that'll be one that we'll put on our bucket list for another time, another trip.
Yeah. Well, there's still time to get here between now and May 6th. Just just saying, those planes, they go east and west.
I know they do. I know they do. Uh,
Just throwing that out there.
I know. I know.
All right. We're going to pop over to the armor of God. Finally, be strong in the Lord and in the strength of his might. Put on the full armor of God so that you'll be able to stand firm against the schemes of the devil. For our struggle is not against flesh and blood, but against the rulers, against the powers, against the world forces of this darkness, against the spiritual forces of wickedness in the heavenly places. Therefore, take up the full armor of God so that you'll be able to resist in the evil day, and having done everything to stand firm. Stand firm, therefore, having girded your loins with truth, and having put on the breastplate of righteousness, and having shod your feet with the preparation of the gospel of peace. In addition to all, taking up the shield of faith, with which you will be able to extinguish all the flaming arrows of the evil one, and take the helmet of salvation and the sword of the Spirit, which is the word of God. With all prayer and petition, pray at all times in the Spirit, and with this in view, be on the alert with all perseverance, and petition for all the saints, and pray on my behalf that utterance may be given to me in the opening of my mouth, to make known with boldness the mystery of the gospel, for which I am an ambassador in chains, that in proclaiming it I may speak boldly as I ought to speak. Paul's
Amen.
letter to the Ephesians, letting us know to be ready and that we have got an armor to put on, a suit of armor to put on that God has given us to protect us from all spiritual evil. Okay, we're going to turn right over to Exodus 21. 21. And Lana, you're up.
These are the laws you are to set before them. Hebrew servants. If you buy a Hebrew servant, he is to serve you for 6 years. But in the 7th year, he shall go free without paying anything. If he comes alone, he is to go free alone. But if he has a wife when he comes, she is to go with him. If his master gives him a wife, and she bears him sons or daughters, the woman and her children shall belong to her master, and only the man should go free. But if the servant declares, I love my master and my wife and children, and do not want to go free, then his master must take him before the judges. He shall take him to the door or the doorpost, and pierce his ear with an awl. Then he will be his servant for life. If a man sells his daughter as a servant, she is not to go free as men servants do. If she does not please the master who has selected for himself, he must let her be redeemed. He has no right to sell her to foreigners because he has broken faith with her. If he selects her for a son, he must grant her the rights of a daughter. If he marries another woman, he must not deprive the first one of her food, clothing, and marital rights. If he does not provide her with these 3 things, she is to go free without any payment of money. Anyone who strikes a man and kills him shall surely be put to death. However, if he does not do it intentionally, but God lets it happen, he is to flee to a place I will designate. But if a man schemes and kills another man deliberately, take him away from my altar and put him to death. Anyone who attacks his father or his mother must be put to death. Anyone who kidnaps another and either sells him or still has him when he is caught must be put to death. Anyone who curses his father or mother must be put to death. If men quarrel and one hits the other with a stone or with his fist, and he does not die but is confined to bed, the one who struck the blow will not be held responsible if the other gets up and walks around outside with his staff. However, he must pay the injured man for the loss of his time and see that he is completely healed.
If a man strikes his male or female slave with a rod and he dies, at his hand he shall be punished. If, however, he survives a day or two, no vengeance shall be taken, for he is his property. If men struggle with each other and strike a woman with child, so that she gives birth prematurely, yet there is no injury, he shall surely be fined as the woman's husband may demand of him, and he shall pay as the judge decides. But if there is any further injury, then you shall appoint as a penalty life for life, eye for eye, tooth for tooth, hand for hand, foot for foot, burn for burn, wound for wound, bruise for bruise. If a man strikes the eye of his male or female slave, and destroys it, he shall let him go free on account of his eye. And if he knocks out the tooth of his male or female slave, he shall let him go free on account of his tooth. If an ox gores a man or a woman to death, the ox shall surely be stoned, and its flesh shall not be eaten, but the owner of the ox shall go unpunished. If, however, an ox was previously in the habit of goring, and its owner has been warned, yet he does not confine it, and it kills a man or a woman, the ox shall be stoned, and its owner shall also be put to death. If a ransom is demanded of him, then he shall give for the redemption of his life whatever is demanded of him. Whether it gores a son or a daughter, it shall be done to him according to the same rule. If the ox gores a male or female slave, the owner shall give his or her master 30 shekels of silver, and the ox shall be stoned. If a man opens up a pit or digs a pit and does not cover it over, and an ox or a donkey falls into it, the owner of the pit shall make restitution. He shall give money to its owner, and the dead animal shall become his. If one man's ox hurts another so that it dies, then they shall the live ox and divide the price equally. And also they shall divide the dead ox. Or is it known as the ox was previously in the habit of goring, yet its owner has not confined it? He shall surely pay ox for ox, and the dead animal shall become his. That was Exodus 21. Exodus 21. That's a lot to go over. Lana, what did you think of what we read there?
Law is always hard to understand and interpret, I think, but this is pretty straightforward. Basically says if you hurt someone, that whether they be a slave or whether they not be a slave, whether it be you take out their eye or take out their tooth or whatever, there's different laws that are going to cover that. And what those laws did, it protected those that were under the masters. Now today, our laws don't reflect the masters, but everyone here supposedly, and they kind of work the same way. It reminded me of different felonies and misdemeanors, and that's kind of what he set up here. Personal injury. Now, if you don't mean to kill someone, that's a whole different story. We have that law too. And I think sometimes in viewing those laws, people forget the law. And I think the reason for that is the media. I really truly believe that they like stories, and they like to recreate things and make them. I'll tell you what I'm thinking about. Is it Alex Baldwin that had that scene? He shot someone, and it was supposed to be, and they died. It wasn't supposed to happen that way. And I don't know, this has gone on and on and on and on and on. And it should have been a pretty simple thing to figure out. There was a mistake made somewhere. And this is really cut and dried.
It is pretty well cut and dried. Now there's parts of it where they're talking about slavery.
Yes.
And slavery in the ancient days was quite a bit different than what we came to think of slavery.
Mm-hmm.
Slavery there was basically being an indentured servant. The rules that God laid out for them, slaves would be released after 6 years. You had paid in full your servitude, and you were released.
Then were they free people?
They were free people. They were free to go over wherever they wanted. But we also noted that there was a verse in there that says if they loved their master, they could stay with them.
Stay.
And what they would do, there was a ceremony for that, and they would pierce their ear, and they were to stay with them forever.
Never.
And that was by the willingness of the servant. They said, I love my master. I love the way I'm being treated. I love where we're living and what we're doing. And they could become a servant forever. It means you're going to be well taken care of in that household. But they also had some rules. Whatever you brought into that relationship, if you brought your wife in with them, and your children, they would all be released. Whatever you brought in at that time, they would be released with you. But if you took on a wife that lived with the master, that was part of the master's family to begin with, and you had children with this person, the wife and the children still stayed with the master. You could leave, you could be free to go, but the wife and the children had to stay.
They had to stay.
So I would guess at times there were those men that said, I love my master and I will be staying. Then there are other times the guy said, I'm out of here.
Yeah.
My 6 years are up. Good luck.
Yeah.
Enjoy it.
Yeah.
And I'm heading out. So that part really caught me. But God and his lawmaking and the rules that he made were very, very straightforward. And we should note that the Bible didn't create slavery. People created slavery. And again, God was the one that basically put an end to slavery by adding the rule that you need to release this person after a certain amount of time. So it was, again, more of servitude to pay off a debt than anything else.
Yeah.
And he made rules that you should not be harming the person serving you, or the slave, as they called them. So there were rules that had to be followed with that. And God lines up those things, and God has put it out there for us. If you commit murder, you should be put to death. Now, if there is something that says maybe he didn't do it, well, then you can't kill. You should not kill an innocent man. You should let that man go free.
Right.
Or woman, whatever the case is. But if you know that a person has committed murder and did it willingly, he should die.
That's a hard one. That's always been a little hard for me. That's always been a little hard for me.
Well,
but
this is God's rule, and we got to decide whether we're going to follow God's rules or we're going to say, well, come on now, we don't want to do that. Maybe we should give him life in prison and let him out after 20 years.
Now you got on to Doug about the Chevys, and now you're hitting me with the life in prison.
No, I'm just saying this is God's rules.
I know, and I don't think I understood that as well as I do now, because actually in the Ten Commandments, where it says thou shalt not kill, it actually means murder. It means take a life that you should not take. It's not talking about killing things. It's talking about murder and taking a human life. That's very serious business.
Yeah.
And all of the rules of life are very serious. God has forgiveness. When a person goes to God and says, I've really messed up. I really messed up. He forgives. But he doesn't say, okay, and you can keep messing up forever. I think there's a time when God says, well, there's a few punishments here for those mess ups. I forgive you. I love you. You're not going to be held accountable, and you're not going to miss heaven over that. But the rewards on earth may start, you know what I mean? It might not look as good
Well,
is what you'd like them to look. But we're going to get into some of these laws, and they're going to be hard.
yep. Well, I think dying for murder is it gets pretty tough right there, right off the bat.
That should not be something we even have to consider when there's absolute proof that someone has murdered. And
But they
generally,
also he also gives them a chance that he also lets them know that if this person does it because this other person murdered someone else, he can be let off.
that's
He
right.
he absolutely set up rules to follow. If this was murder where you set and wait for that person, you've planned, you've premeditated the murder of another, you shall be put to death. But if there were other circumstances that caused this to come about, then we can take a look at that. Murder is not, or death is not necessarily the penalty.
That's right.
And now we have a tendency to say it's society's problem. This child or this man was raised in a society that was unfair, so he had to lash out. No, if you went out and killed somebody and you
That's your
premeditated
problem.
it,
Yeah.
you have broken God's law. And I'm not a hardcore person on anything, but if you murder somebody, I have a true belief that you should be put to death. And that's the way it goes.
Yeah. And I think that as we go through, we're going to see things that, the world is accepted as being okay. And this is not just our generation. I think that's where we kind of go wrong. We forget about history. If we would go back into history and take a good look at what's gone on before us, we would recognize the fact that some of this is just not brand new to God. He's seen this from the very beginning, the failures of people. He said this is the only way you're going to get through it. You better have a good flock of sheep. You better have those sacrifices because that's what it's going to take. It took those sacrifices, and he had certain sacrifices that he didn't say you could just sacrifice anything.
Well,
They were named, and I believe it was the finest goat and sheep and doves. Then later on, of course, we have the Son of God,
yeah.
and we're still abusing. That's the thing.
There is a lot that our society has now turned their backs on. And I think when we turn our backs on God's law and what was put out there for us, we have a society that goes astray, not unlike what we're going through these days,
I know.
where you have kids that are rioting in the streets, kids, young teenagers to 20 to 30 to 40-year-olds that still believe that they have a right to do that and destroy cities and murder one another for their drugs and their gang lifestyle. That's not the way it is. And that is a societal problem
It is.
because we're not raising our children properly, and we are not letting them know that there are penalties for our decisions. There's consequences for our decisions, and we need to learn how to live in a civilized society. And we
We have
forgot.
to learn how to trust God and be kind and do everything as Lena always says. Choose love.
Yeah.
Choose
Well,
love.
we live in a society where when we were youngsters, over 80% of people believed in God and Jesus Christ. Now we're under 50%. So it's no wonder that society has gone astray.
Society has taken a big jump, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Or
Well,
has it really?
I think that it has.
I look back and I'm thinking, we think so. But when you go back in history, they killed babies. They sacrificed people. They did
Yeah.
all of this stuff. They
But
had
they didn't do
orgies.
millions of them.
No, they didn't. They didn't have the ability to do that.
They didn't take a pill and say, "Oh, I had a bad night last night. Better take a pill." It's a
That's
different world. All right. I think this is a good place for us to leave off for the day.
Leave off here today, but we're going to go right back into it tomorrow. I have a feeling.
We're going to dig right in. If you'd like to join us tomorrow, we will continue our walk through the Bible. I want to thank everyone for joining us. We are grateful for each and every one of you. Lana, especially for you for coming in and doing the reading. Grateful for that.
And for you, Charles.
And for the discussion, where I absolutely love it. Everyone go out and have a wonderful day. Enjoy your Tuesday.
Yes.
And in the words of our dear buddy, Mr. Fitz, have a red letter day. God bless you guys. Enjoy it. And we'll see you soon. Bye-bye.